They can destroy everything you love, Stan.
Who are they? It's the corporations. As we all know, corporations love us very much. And if you're one of those cynics who don't believe that, I have a heartwarming story for you.
I like stories.
There is a light bulb at this fire station in Livermore, California. That light bulb has been on for 123 years straight without burning out. This light bulb, your bank account, and Randy Marsh are all connected in a twisted web of money and manipulation that goes back further than you can even begin to imagine. South Park exposed a small part of the web in one of the more cheekier episodes in recent years, Japanese toilets. Yeah, I know, I started talking about light bulbs and now I'm talking about toilets. Why? Well, because the more I looked into it, the more I realized that it's all connected. There is one reason, and one reason only, as to why that light bulb has been on for so long, while all others have burned out 1,000,000 times over. It's the same reason why your bank account is nearly empty. And it's also the same reason why you use toilet paper and buy new stuff every 3 days. If we follow the story, you'll see that reason for yourself. You'll see how it ruins your life, how it ruins your health, and how it keeps you poor, and how it holds humanity back. That is the plot of Japanese toilets. The episode starts with a seemingly petty disagreement between Randy and his wife. The powder room toilet is broken, again. Sharon wants to get a new toilet, but Randy doesn't want to.
We can't just get rid of old Blue, Sharon.
So Sharon threatens that she will stop helping him with his business, and like a good married man, Randy caves for the 1,000,000th time.
All right, Sharon, you win. As usual.
It's the golden rule of marriage. You can be right or you can be happy. Choose wisely. But that is not the only lesson in this episode. Not even close. This episode is about something way more important than heroically losing arguments to your wife. It's about butts.
Poor old Blue.
After mourning his poor toilet, Randy goes shopping for another one. He wants a toilet that is as nice as possible.
How much you looking to spend?
Well, I'm not poor.
Randy here is in that classic sweet spot that corporations really love. A guy who just made some money and it's burning a hole in his pocket. He's looking for a way to prove that he finally has made it. Naturally, corporations are always eager to help. At a price, of course. The salesman mentions that there is a higher class of toilet, Japanese toilets. But he says Randy probably doesn't want to spend that kind of money, which annoys Randy.
I'm not poor.
This is a clever commentary on how luxury brands sometimes use reverse psychology to trick us into buying their stuff. While luxury brands yap a lot about quality and innovation and all that stuff, what they really sell is exclusivity. We naturally value what is rare, and we also want what we can't have. It's the forbidden fruit effect. The toilet salesman understands that and plays Randy like a fiddle. Clueless, Randy falls right into the trap. He insists on seeing the Japanese toilets just to prove that he's not poor. But once again, that's not the point of this episode. This episode is about butts and how they run the world. So let's get to them. Randy gets introduced to the Japanese toilets. They open automatically when you walk into a room, they play music for you, and they even have seat warmers. They just have one design flaw.
With a Japanese toilet, you don't need toilet paper.
Now, the design flaw doesn't look like a design flaw at all.
It has warm water and a dryer and cleans you 8 times better than toilet paper can.
That is going to be a big problem.
You're mad.
But in the meantime, Randy takes the Japanese toilet for a test drive. Randy is sold.
Okay, how much?
He buys it and then tries to justify the purchase to his family.
We're basically the Kennedys of South Park.
Keep that at the back of your mind. We all know how the Kennedys are famous for their good luck, don't we? Randy keeps up the lecture.
Well-off families have nice things, and we shouldn't be ashamed of that.
When the toilet gets delivered, Sharon gets suspicious. This toilet delivery features more pomp and ceremony than a North Korean military parade. Sharon can see that this toilet is going to be a problem. She asks Randy how much it costs.
Oh, Sharon, 10-ish.
What's 10-ish?
10-ish, 1,000-ish, 10,000-ish.
Sharon wants to return the toilet, but Randy asks her to use it first.
Try it, Sharon.
Sharon has the same spiritual experience that Randy had at the store. But this toilet is going to cause a lot of problems, and they start almost immediately.
Oh, look, there he goes. It's Mr. Big Shot.
Stan gets bullied at school. All of a sudden, the other kids hate him. He gets snide comments shouted at him everywhere he goes.
How about caring for something that matters, you
Even Jimmy tells Stan to be careful. But why is Stan getting treated like this?
Your dad called everyone last night and told them you have a $10,000 toilet.
So that's it? Basic envy? It appears like it, but appearances can be deceiving. Naturally, Randy is completely oblivious to the mounting resentment. He invites all his old friends over for brunch and keeps asking if any of them need to use the bathroom.
Does anyone need to go to the bathroom?
When nobody bites, Randy keeps feeding them and keeps asking if anybody needs to use the bathroom break until somebody does.
I think I could use the restroom.
And it's at this moment, it's Randy's time to shine.
I feel bad that most people have to walk around with fecal matter on their anus, but I'm just lucky.
Yep, Randy is more insufferable about his toilet than a vegan Tesla owner who just bought Bitcoin. Kyle's mom comments on how expensive those toilets are, but Randy was prepared for this. It's the only reason he invited all these people to his house in the first place.
But for those of us who can afford it, it's well worth it.
Randy is experiencing that high that often comes with a luxury purchase. He feels that he is part of a special club. Research shows that most people get a boost in their sense of self-worth after splurging on luxuries. This self-esteem boost can sometimes turn into a superiority complex, which annoys people. This is what we see with Stan's friends at school. Stan gets mad at his dad because all the bragging is getting him unwanted hate. Randy says he's just trying to help people.
And I'm just like the well-respected guy who's trying to open people's eyes like JFK.
Annoying as it is, Randy showing off and comparing himself to JFK is not the real problem. It rubs his friends and his son's friends the wrong way, but those are not the people he should be worried about. He should worry about people like his proctologist. According to Google, that's a butt doctor. Please pray that you never need one. Randy's proctologist makes a house call because Randy hasn't been to the doctor's office for a while. It's because he doesn't need to. After ditching toilet paper, Randy's hemorrhoids have cleared right up.
In fact, I don't think I'll be needing your services anymore since I've gotten a Japanese toilet.
Randy proudly shows the proctologist the Japanese toilet. So far, everyone has been impressed by it. But there's always that one guy.
Whoa, hey! You gotta ruin Tuscany! I hate you!
Why would a doctor hate a toilet that much? Well, the proctologist can't afford to take his wife to Tuscany anymore because people with clean butts don't get hemorrhoids, and they don't need a proctologist.
I never realized you made so much money off my...
Randy decides to share this fresh realization with the whole town. Now, obviously, most people can't afford a $10,000 toilet, but Randy has a solution.
There are actually Japanese toilets made for commoners.
There are bidet attachments for regular toilets that are even cheaper. Randy tells the commoners of South Park as much.
They may not be Nihon no Shitairu, but they are good enough for you guys.
Despite his annoying superiority complex, Randy's just trying to help. He explains that between the cost of toilet paper, doctors, and hemorrhoid cream, a Japanese toilet pays for itself in just a few years.
Even commoners don't need toilet paper anymore.
But in the middle of his speech, Randy gets a taste of that famous Kennedy luck. He gets shot. Who shot him, and why? For answers, we have to go to Jimmy Velmer.
Have you ever asked yourself why we use toilet paper?
No, Jimmy, why? Jimmy doesn't answer the why, but he drops quite a heavy monologue that many downsides to toilet paper. For starters, it's just not very effective as a cleaning agent. There's always a little bit of poop smeared around the exit. Jimmy points out that 70% of the world uses good old soap and water instead of toilet paper. Then he rips into a massive amount of toilet paper Americans use.
The average American uses 140 rolls of toilet paper per year.
Pendants have nitpicked and fact-checked this line to discredit the episode, but Matt and Trey aren't trying to deceive us over here. They're victims of overblown data published by the NRDC, which is a source of this 140 rolls per year figure. The 140 rolls per person per year is crazy. That's almost 3 rolls of toilet paper per week. You have to be a special kind of toilet destroyer to use that much TP. Less biased surveys have put toilet paper usage in America to 56 to 85 rolls per person per year. That's about 1 roll per week, which is more reasonable from my own experience. But it's still a crazy high number. In a country of 300 million people, you have to cut down a horrendous number of trees to make enough toilet paper for them. Jimmy has the figures.
To supply the United States with toilet paper, it takes 31.1 million trees per year.
That number doesn't really make sense, so here's how to visualize it in a more American manner. If you assume those 31 million trees were planted 10 feet apart, then we're talking of a forest land the size of 60,000 football fields being cleared every year just so people can smear poop all over their butt cheeks. Stan asks the obvious question.
So then why do Americans use it so much?
Jimmy tells him none of it makes any sense. When Stan tries to pursue the issue further, Jimmy shuts him down. Americans don't want to change their toilets, and they never will.
Just tell your dad to stop.
But Randy has already been stopped by a bullet. And as Stan tries to get to the bottom of the assassination attempt on his father, the proctologist takes 6 Japanese delivery men hostage.
I ain't going down for this! I didn't shoot Randy Marsh!
Nobody has accused him of anything, but the proctologist is convinced that somebody will frame him for shooting Randy.
No, but they're gonna use me as their scapegoat!
Who are they? The bot doctor shoots himself in the butt before he can disclose that. But in his rant, he gives Stan something to nibble on.
When that second grade kid wrote a story in the school paper about toilets 2 years ago!
Stan goes looking for the second grade kid.
You know more about this.
Jimmy hops away as fast as his crutches can carry him. Unsurprisingly, he doesn't get very far. Stan catches up with him and insists that Jimmy tells him what he knows.
They took everything from me, Stan. My bike, my cat.
And Stan finally figures it out. It was the toilet paper companies. They have the most to lose. A bidet is a one-off purchase. Toilet paper is a subscription. And unlike paying for toilet paper subscriptions, subscribing to my YouTube channel is free. For toilet paper, you have to buy at least 1 roll every week. Even though it's relatively cheap, the costs add up pretty fast. American households spend an average of $182 a year on toilet paper. That cash by itself is more than enough to buy a bidet attachment and leave some change for a couple of Big Macs. Or you could just buy a purpose-designed bidet toilet. Even the super high-end one max out at around $2,000, which is way less than the $11,000 you would spend on toilet paper over your lifetime. And that's without getting into the superior hygiene and complete elimination of hemorrhoid risks. These are the numbers that scared big toilet paper into shooting Randy, in the South Park universe at least. There is no evidence that they're shooting people in our world, and I really hope they're not. And they don't actually need to, because big toilet paper has access to the strongest magic spell that has ever been invented. If you can guess what it is, I'll give you a cookie. Lock down your answers in the comments. Here's how the magic spell goes. If you don't want a man to use something, just call it gay. It's the most powerful magic spell in the world. Straight men will do anything to prove that they're not gay. I get a mid-haircut on purpose and avoid any clothes that are too fashionable because I don't want to look like I care too much about my appearance. That is gay. It's the same with food. I will never eat a banana in public, or use a straw, or put anything remotely phallic-shaped in my mouth. And I will manspread until I die, because every time I think of crossing my legs, a sound will play in my head.
Why are you gay?
There are countless examples. We never hug our friends or our dads. The closest we get to show any physical affection is that weird thing you do when you shake hands, pull each other close, and bump shoulders. I can't even tell my girlfriend I love her when I'm around my friends because they'll laugh at me. So every time she says, "Love you," I have to respond with, "Okay," and then hang up before she can ask why I didn't say it back. Bidets have received the same treatment. Shooting stuff up your butthole? Yeah, that feels pretty gay. I saw a meme recently that says a man shouldn't even shave that area because he who cleans his house expects visitors. I don't disagree with that logic. This is a magic spell that the toilet paper industry has used to stay in business. They just hacked our psychology to sell us an inferior product. Randy getting shot is an analogy for this. Jimmy summarizes this when he gives Stan a chilling warning.
Don't squeeze the shark.
Stan doesn't listen. He tries to preach the message his father started.
My father wanted everyone to see that there were alternatives.
The crowd roars in agreement and Stan rallies against toilet paper. Randy, however, jumps out of his hospital bed and stops Stan from saying anything.
Yeah, so we have nothing against toilet paper. It's a great product, and it was childish of me to make fun of it.
Stan is surprised by this.
Dad, we can't just back down and—
Bro, I got shot!
Randy has been scared straight. He even gets the whole town to apologize to the toilet paper companies for all the bad things he said about them.
South Park, everyone, say you're sorry.
We're sorry.
Okay, great. Come on, guys, let's go
The
home.
Marshes return home defeated. Randy gets rid of his Japanese toilet and digs up Old Blue. The episode wraps up here. This is not South Park giving up on the quest for cleaner butts, but rather a commentary on the chokehold corporations have on us. They have weaponized our psychology and used plenty of other tricks to make us part with our money. So even though I've known about bidets for most of my life, I've still stuck with toilet paper because twisted bro logic says it's a manlier option. That's the propaganda corporations use to sell us inferior products. They use our own laziness and prejudices against us. And it's not just limited to toilet paper. We're probably getting scammed on every single thing we buy. Alright, you remember the light bulb from our introduction part? It's been working for 123 years, but I grew up in a house where our light bulbs burned out every 2 or 3 months. We switched to energy-saving bulbs when I was around 10, mostly because of a government policy mandating energy efficiency. But energy-saving LED bulbs can last up to 7 years, so they are an improvement on incandescent bulbs. I used to think that the short lifespan of those bulbs was the limitation of technology, but it turns out I'm wrong. The technology to make bulbs that can last forever existed 100 years ago, but there was just one problem. Building a light bulb that lasts 100 years comes with an obvious problem. There's no return business. Once the customer buys your bulb, they never have to buy one again. So General Electric, Philips, and the other light bulb manufacturers got together and conspired to deliberately make inferior light bulbs. The math isn't complicated. If they can sell you a light bulb that dies after 2 months, then they can sell you a light bulb over and over again for the rest of your life. It's an infinite money glitch. The fancier term is planned obsolescence. This scam is probably as old as humanity itself, but the light bulb conspiracy is the first planned obsolescence campaign that affected pretty much everybody in the world. General Motors copied these tactics and started changing its car designs every year to motivate people to buy new ones, even though the old ones worked perfectly okay. They didn't improve the cars themselves, they just repainted them in different colors and built them in slightly different shapes. That's why cars started looking old after 5 years. They just keep changing the designs until you feel the social pressure to buy a new car because your old one started to look a little dated. They also build them to be a little fragile, so they would conveniently break down just when they need you to buy a new car. Now, every industry has planned obsolescence. The Germans figured out how to make unbreakable glass 50 years ago, but you don't see them in stores because that's not good for business. They have to sell you a breakable glass just so you can go buy a new one after you drop it, and then it shatters. Fashion companies do the same thing by releasing new designs every 2 weeks or so. Once they run out of designs, they start recycling old designs from the 70s and 80s. Instead of buying clothes that can last for years, we now have people who only wear an outfit once before throwing it away. And it's not like you can wear these things that much anymore. Most of the crap the likes of Temu sells is designed to fall apart the moment you wear it. Fast fashion has become a scam. In the US, 20% of clothes are never worn in the first place. They just fill up closet space until they're eventually thrown away. We're basically taking money and throwing it into a landfill. This is without going into all of that human suffering that is powering the supply chain. China uses forced labor to grow cotton that is then turned into clothes by underpaid workers, including children. Then we spend a tremendous amount of fuel and manpower shipping all of these clothes across the world only to throw them away. Up to 40% of clothes are never sold. Of the ones that get sold, 60 to 80% are thrown away within the first year. All those poor Uyghurs and the little kids are suffering for nothing. On top of the human suffering, there is an environmental cost of throwing away 60 billion items of clothing per year. Just imagine how much trash that is. Well, you don't have to imagine. We dump 92 million tons of clothes every year. To make that number easier to visualize, that is a full truckload of discarded clothing that we're dumping every single second. By the time you finish watching this video, we have dumped over 1,000 truckloads of clothes. And donating doesn't help much either. Donated clothes mostly get dumped in third world countries. Donation just transfers the problem to somebody else. But fashion brands will never tell you all of this in their ads. They will never tell you that their crap is filling the oceans with microplastics, which then make their way into our bodies. Every industry is now like this. They all want to sell you stuff that is purposely designed to break down or become unfashionable after 3 days, so you can go back and buy more. A lot of companies start out with good intentions. They make an excellent product like the iPod or the iPhone. But once they've sold it to everybody, they don't go and build a different product. They just re-release the same product with slight changes over and over again. Apple is the biggest abuser of these tactics, but all of them do it. Add a camera, remove a headphone jack to make people buy overpriced AirPods, then recycle a design from 2010 and call it an earth-shattering innovation. Apple tells people to think different in its ads, which is really funny because they're buying the exact same phone that everyone else has is the exact opposite of thinking different. This fake innovation is the biggest trick in the corporate bag of tricks. Corporations turn you into a conformist, but trick you into thinking that you're a rebel. Apple still pretends to be a part of the upstart computer company, taking on the establishment like it was in the 1980s. This is just not true anymore. Apple is literally the biggest corporation in the world. It's not an underdog anymore. And then there are all the subscriptions. It's becoming increasingly impossible to own anything anymore. Everything now requires a subscription. BMW even tried selling a subscription for heated seats in a car that you already own. These tricks are holding us back. Instead of investing in innovation that moves us forward, companies invest more in finding ways to sell us the same old stuff for more money. Imagine how advanced we would be if Apple saved all the money it wastes on pretending to design a new iPhone and instead invested it in developing new technologies. But this is all a fantasy. Corporations are not run by aliens, they're run by people. It seems we're all lazy. If we find a way to make money without really doing anything, most of us would probably take it. So, the corpos are never going to change on their own. The best we can do is stop rewarding companies that play these tricks on us, but it can be difficult. Just like South Park shows, the marketing and propaganda machine is almost unbeatable. We have millions of psychopaths who spend all their time learning psychological tricks they can use to sell you garbage. These psychopaths are called marketers. But we can still try. Start buying stuff that is built to last. Resist trends once in a while. Maybe even try out a bidet. And by God, no matter what happens, please do not buy the iPhone 16.